Alright, I thought I'd put together a quick controls and tips and tricks tutorial per se. If you're new to Ilysia, if you found the video, then I'm assuming you're interested in it. It's currently at a 0.3.1 patch. It is early access and very much still in development, but there are things to do, some dungeons to complete. You can level up to 15, and there are 4 skill trees to play with different abilities and weapons. But not everything is straightforward, especially if you're coming from Zenith. Things are a little different, some of the controls. So let's start off with the main menu. Press the primary button on your left controller. That will bring up what they call the Codex. You can grab it with the grip and move it around. Any grip is fine, as long as you don't have something in your hand. Oh no, I lie. Oh yeah, never mind. You can do it with any hand, so it seems to work better with the left. Here you'll find your settings, graphic settings. I play Steam VR with Quest 3 and the Steam Link in the Quest store. Calibrate height. You can set up all your audio, all your volumes. They do have different comfort settings. I won't go through all of them, but if you start, they generally have the trajectory line for weapons, like spells, projectiles, the bow and arrow. If you prefer not to have that, in the comfort settings is where you can shut that off. As well as when you select quests from NPCs, you have your quest log, tells you what to do. The nice thing that Ilysia does really well, they have this awesome wrist UI. It's really clear, really clean, easy to see. When you're in a party, you can see members' health and mana. Yeah, you can see global chat, so they got their own chat window on the hand UI. And your quests, and to track those on the hand UI is where you would click on this here. So those would appear in real time when you want to track them. Also, you can see your player statistics on the player tab and any skills you have selected. The other thing with the skills here is you're able to trigger click on them, and for instance, Smite is a spell. It will show you the glyph pattern that you have to cast. I will get into that a little bit when I start showing some of the weapons. So that is the Codex. They do have a social tab. This is where you get to your chat. If you want to chat, so Nico's here, we'll say hi to Nico. When you click on the bar to enter the chat, you will get a keyboard. Currently, there is no beam that allows you to select. You literally have to press the buttons. It's easy to fat finger, and then you would send it, and there you go. And you can change your channel by global, whisper, party, and all. Voice settings, they do use Vivox similar to Zenith. Occasionally it bugs out. Whenever that happens, you want to come to this tab in your Codex and just reset voice devices. It will log you out of the comm server and then back in. You can also set up your inputs and outputs and volume levels for different channels and all of that. And then also when you have a party, it will show party members in the Codex as well. And as you can see, you can leave the party from there. There's also the leave option on the party UI on the wrist. All right, so that's the Codex. Another mechanic that Alysia is using is their inventory. Is very unique compared to what I've played so far in VR. Unlike Zenith, you actually have an inventory bag. You bring it up by the primary button on your right hand. You can grab it, move it around. To equip your weapons, you just use the grips on the stone tablets here with the different items. So if I want my shield, if I want on my right hand, I can put it on my right hand. You can swap between hands. If you need a different setup for whatever reason. I play Holy, so it uses a wand or a scepter type deal. Your armory, if you notice, you don't see any real place to put on armor. This keychain, if you grab that, it brings up your armory. Your armory will also show you your level and your statistics. Currently, there are gliders in the game. Around level 10, I believe there's a quest where you can get your glider. I do not believe there are any pets or mounts currently in the game. And then here is how you equip yourself. You grab it out of the inventory, put it on the wardrobe here, or the armory here, and you are equipped. And then it gives you a preview of what you look like to others. To close that, you just toggle the keychain again with the grip button. And then same with the inventory, you would use your primary button on the right controller to close that out. Now, another neat thing about the inventory is the zipper. This is how you scroll through your inventory. Takes a little getting used to, but it's actually neat. I believe you can also I guess not, it's just graphics. I thought maybe there was a laser pointer to use the arrows as well, but looks like it's just the zipper. So we'll close that out. There are different movement systems. The left joystick is your standard forward, backwards, and strafe. The right joystick has your left and right snap turn or smooth turn, depending on how you set it up in the Codex. Some of the differences that I haven't run into yet, the jump is not a button jump. It is actually pressing forward on the right joystick, as well as the crouch. You press it back on the right joystick and you can crouch. To get up from the crouch, you also press back, so it's a toggle, not that you, because you can jump crouched. So there's also a sprint mechanic. Mechanically, you can press down on the left joystick, at least on the Oculus controllers. I should say the MetaQuest controllers. And it will trigger the sprint as long as you're going forward. You can also pump your arms once or twice, and it will trigger sprint as well, which is really nice, so you don't have to constantly be clicking on your controller, on the joystick. Alright, let's see, what else do we got? I can show the swim mechanics and the gliding in a little bit here. Let's check out some of the skills and where you go to handle that. So currently, most towns have this tavern building. They will have the skill table, the skill training station they call it, over here. You just point and click to bring up the UI, and it's the same with the NPCs in quests. You point, you click with the trigger, and it will bring up a UI. In this case, I do play with Holy Spec on this character. There is a Holy Spec, Martial Spec, which is sword, shield, armor. And you can see what all the skills are. I'm not going to go through them all because what's the fun in playing a game if you know everything that's going on. So I'll let everyone explore this. But yeah, clicking on it tells you what you got to do, how you got to trigger it. You can click on the scroll to see the rest of it. You are not locked into one tree. You can spec into different areas. So there is some free forge, they call it, for making characters. I know they're expanding upon this, considering it's only 0.3 version of the game. There's still a lot they're working on. And you can reset your skills at any time to try something else. So if you don't have to create 4 alts just to try all the skills. Once you max, you can switch it up as you'd like. A couple other things. So I did mention a little bit about quests. The quest givers in towns will have an AI or a UI, I should say, a graphic above their heads, similar to common MMO mechanics. It's typically yellow if they have a quest, green if you've completed it to turn it in, and gray if it's you're a level 2. So you kind of know where to be next. The not so understandable part of Ilysia right now is the merchants.
Greetings, friend.
You click on a merchant and it will bring up their UI. You can buy simply by clicking buy, and it puts it right in your bag. Initially, you can't really, it doesn't look like you can sell the way it is, but that's not actually how it works. So when you have the merchant UI up, anything you grab while it's up will then bring up a pop-up for selling. So you just say yes, and you sell your item, and that's how you would get your gold. If it's an item with multiple, I don't think I have any junk ones, but if you have any item with multiple quantities, it'll also give you a slider to choose how many you want to sell in that pop-up. You just have to remember to close it if you're rummaging around in your bag after the fact, because anything you grab will bring up that pop-up to sell if you have the merchant UI open. You can also just trash things.
Greetings, friend.
Dropping it in there, and I'll say, do you want to, delete it? And yeah, you can just trash it out. The only annoying part about just deleting things, they currently do not have the quantity slider on the delete. So if you have 5 of something, you will have to drag it 5 times to get rid of it entirely out of your bag. I'm sure that is something that will be updated at a later time. All right, spells and weapons. So I showed you earlier in the video how to equip. To essentially use them, you just reach behind your ear and use the grip button over your shoulder. You do not have to hold the grip to stay equipped, unlike, say, Zenith. Each skill has a different way of triggering it. Weapons, you do have a basic swing, and then you have certain skills where if you hold the trigger and you do a particular motion, it will trigger effects. The shield block is interesting. There's a little icon that pops up when you're in position. It's a little shield, and if it's green, you're in a position where you will block. The circular UI here is actually kind of like a health bar for the shield. As you keep taking hits, it's almost like a secondary health bar for you. It will dissipate and take the damage, and then once it's out, it slowly regens, and you will subsequently take whatever damage is coming your way. Casting is interesting. It is a free glyph casting type mechanic. You actually would draw your glyphs. In the case of correctly casting them, it charges your weapon. So far, most of the spells that are attack spells are kind of projectile. There are buffs that just trigger off of the character. And the neat thing is, if you bring your Codex back up, and under your skills, as I've shown before, you can see pretty much what they're expecting you to draw to trigger your skill. One tip on this is you don't have to follow the direction that they want. So sometimes it's easier, you'll find easier to do the spell a different direction. As long as the glyph ends up looking close to what they're expecting, the skills will normally trigger. So I encourage you to play with all of those things. There is climbing in the game. It's not everything, unlike Zenith. You cannot climb absolutely everything. I cannot climb the houses or the buildings. Trees like this, you can climb. And it's, grip buttons, hand above hand, you pull yourself up. Typical climbing mechanics for VR. There are also areas with the yellow paint, like this graphic here, and this handle here, that you can also grab. So they have zip lines that you can let go of at any time. So for instance, to use the glider, you would put your hands over your head and you hold your grip, and then you have your glider. You do have to hold the joystick to move with the glider. Otherwise, it works pretty much like a parachute. It will just slowly lower you down so you don't take damage. And then swimming, they do have water. You can be underneath it for a while. There is a breath system, so you just can't stay underwater. But as you pump your arms, like you're swimming, you get a little bit of a speed burst. So that's how you would swim. You can also just use the joystick if you don't care to pump your arms. And then last but not least, they do have fishing in the game. You have to equip your fishing rod to use it. It is not a separate slot anywhere, equipment slot or anything like that. You actually equip it like you would a weapon. You reach over your shoulder like you would a weapon. Let's see, put my shield back. Yeah, there we go. The fishing is interesting. You use the trigger as you're throwing the line, almost like you would with a real fishing rod. You just tap the trigger, you do not hold it, and it's like it's releasing the lock. And then you just make a smooth motion out to wherever you're trying to target. If you move your joystick or the controller too much, it will snap back. Or if you just want it to snap back, you can hit the trigger again. Once you get, so you can only fish in these ripples here. So once you get it in, it will start giving you messages on screen. It'll say either nothing's biting or no fish around. But once a fish is on, you only got to tug on the line once, and it automatically reels in for you. And then you can grab your fish, and it automatically goes in your inventory. So it also takes a bit of practice, but it's pretty cool. Cool mechanic. They do currently have parties in the game. I don't have any individuals here to represent that at the moment, but you would just point and click at them, and then you can invite. And you do have a party UI where you will see everything. Back up top, there was a portal by the tavern. That's one of the entrances to the dungeon, one of the dungeons in Alysia. There's currently 3. Only the party leader needs to enter the dungeon as long as everybody's within the vicinity. You can't be, towns away. But if everybody's in the town near the portal, the only party member that has to enter the portal is the leader. Matter of fact, I'm under the impression there potentially is a bug if everybody tries to jump in the portal at the same time. There's been some crashing issues as of patch 0.3.1. And then, let's see, last but not least, the true last but not least, when you have quests, it's a big world. You don't necessarily know where you're going. Ilysia actually has an interesting, it's not a mini map, they call it the Wadar. And what happens is if you take your hand and put it above your eyes like you're blocking the sun from your vision, you get a compass on screen and markers to areas that are of interest to the quest that you have. It will also show you your XP bar if you need to know where you're at, and any buffs you currently have on you. So that one's pretty neat. That's going to be it for this tutorial tips and tricks video. Hopefully anybody that's interested, check out Alysia. It's relatively cheap on the stores, so no point not to pick it up if you like playing VR. I am not a content creator, so don't smash any like or subscription buttons. I just figured since the news of Zenith, there may be some people looking to get into a new MMO, and not everything in Ilysia is straightforward. So thanks for watching. That'll be it. Don't hit the like, I'm telling you.